How we doing?
Yeah. There he is.
Oh, there he is.
Every time I try to do this,
There's the man.
figure out, realize it's like a year.
Wait, dude, you're cutting in and out a lot. I'm thinking. Yeah. Hold on.
Check.
Now talk. Yeah, dude. That I think if it's like the FaceTime issue when you put the phone down and it messes up your audio because like the microphone is down on the table. Yeah, same. Anyway, what's up, guys? How we doing? If you don't know who this is, my name is Gabriel, and no, I'm Gabriel, and then this is my buddy Jeremy. He just received your book in the mail. Oh, let's go. Appreciate it, you guys.
So granted, I read the advance copy for the close friends and family, but I'm waiting on my actual one to come to the mail.
Dude, the thing is, you're on the like PR list that I put together of like all the homies getting it. It's like getting to people now. But for everyone joining right now, this is my buddy Jeremy. We basically, I guess we could start off with like how we met. Yeah, we were on a show together called Mr. Student Body President, and this was back in LA in 2016. And at this time, remember, we were on set, and I was like, bro, I'm talking to this girl, Jess.
I mean, it must have been the first week of shooting, and we were just talking about didn't know each other, relationships or whatever, and I was like, oh, like, dating anybody, whatever, and he was like, no, he was like, I just started talking to this girl, and I was like, oh, cool, who's it? He was like showing me a picture, and he's like, she lives in Australia, and I was like, how did you meet her? I was like, what?
You're like, dude, you're a crazy person. Oh my gosh. Anyway, like fast forward, I don't know how we become good friends on set. We were talking, and then we were like, wait, you're a Christian? I'm a Christian? Heck yeah, let's be friends. So then we,
the industry that we work in. So it was like definitely something that was cool to be on set working with someone that actually has that same faith, which is, it's just super rare. So it's kind of a weird thing because you just don't really expect it, I guess, in any way, shape, or form when you come onto a project, especially not like someone that you're going to be working with and spending hours upon hours, with for X amount of time. That was just really cool.
Yeah, definitely. So, basically, we become homies, hang out. We do like 4 seasons of the show. And
4 seasons.
Fast forward. It was 4. Yeah, we did 4 seasons. It was kind of like 2, but the last season was the glorified 30 episodes that they split up into 4 seasons. Yeah. But Jeremy ends up meeting a childhood friend that I grew up with in my like homeschool community in South Florida. Separate to me. They met in LA, completely separate to me. And now they're married.
She'll be
and
watch the background,
it's just like
it's amazing. I would never have thought that this guy who I met working on this show, we hit it off obviously and became really good friends, but at the time it was like, oh, it's this like YouTuber who's trying to be an actor. But then I was like, oh no, he's an actor and he's really talented, but we got to know each other. This random dude that I'm working with would basically be that would kind of give frame of reference for getting to know the woman who ended up being my wife. That's just crazy. I would never have thought like the first day meeting Gabe, being goofy on set, that would have played out in that way. And honestly, it was so helpful, obviously, to have that relationship because her brother is who I met first, and he was kind of like, oh, Gabe, you worked in a show with him. We're both from South Florida. They'd grown up in the same group, same town. So that's kind of what got us talking. And then once I had started talking to Carolyn, Gabe was like the best wingman ever. It was basically like, no, Jeremy's cool. Like, he's not a crazy person, which was very helpful for her to actually have someone that she trusted, considering you're both completely on the other side of the world from your families that time.
Yeah, man. Yeah. But so it was a pretty crazy, like, I don't know. story of us both meeting and whatever, and then like just kind of where, and then we both ended up moving to Florida for a bit before Jess and I ended up moving to Nashville. We were in Florida in like the same city for a while, so pretty crazy. Oh, bro, you showed your dog, and then my dog started barking downstairs. What's going on? Which one is this one?
He's very good, but he gets very anxious anytime he sees other dogs. He's fine. He just needs to bark at everything that's his own species. I don't. It's.
Bro, our dog just barks at everything else that's moving. Oh my gosh. Anyway, the reason why I brought you guys all here today is, Gabe, your book is sold out. Everyone who's commenting about my book, if you don't know, I released a book. It's called A Mission for Meaning. And it's just like, it's been really cool going through the whole process of releasing it and everything like that. And it's done really well. I just had a book event here last night in Nashville for it. But before, Jeremy and I were just talking about, like he had read the book before
other people could read through it, which was.
Yeah. I sent it. Wait, dude, you're in the. What? Hold on. Get out of here, dude. I totally forgot about this. Here. You're one of the endorsements, bro. You're in the book. Oh my gosh. Anyway, what was I even talking about? When Jeremy and I were talking about before this call, we were like on FaceTime, just like chatting a little bit, and you were mentioning like seeing, like reading the book and kind of seeing in time like what happened on like my side of the story, like in between like the time that we met when I first moved to LA and stuff like that.
Because I think when you meet someone and you get to know them and then you start getting their background, like, oh, and your wife walks in with all the stuff. What's up, babe?
Beautiful. Yeah, my wife is breastfeeding downstairs, so she's not going to be on camera.
But yeah, it was interesting. You get to know someone well, and you know like, who has a full book.
Bro, you're cutting in and out again, and I don't know. Maybe your finger was covering the mic or something.
Yeah.
No, you're good now.
Yeah, like just you don't really know, I guess, all of what leads into someone's life, and the fact that you have this book where I was reading through and I was like, I had no idea how you kind of got into like social media and acting and everything. I like vaguely knew, but just reading it and seeing how amazing that was, that just even family history, like leading up to that point, the coolest things. And you just don't know that about because who has to put all of that in, you know, so much effort to like write all this into a book, and it's the coolest thing. He says talk louder. Am I going to be screaming at the camera? Okay, I guess I did talk louder. We just said that. It's not talking.
What happened?
What someone else is watching the live is saying. But
come on, Jeremy, you're an actor. Project. Dude, no, I don't know. I think Instagram's kind of weird. The last live I did when I was streaming someone in, it was just like, if it's like the guest of the live, it made it a little muffled, but like, you know, whatever.
No, it was just cool. Like I never knew all of that, even when we got to know each other and talking, and just, I guess, the similar life experiences and kind of coming into the industry with the background that we both share was kind of cool. Like I don't know anyone really other than you and I guess now my brother-in-law that are in the entertainment space that kind of have those stories and those backgrounds, and just seeing the similarities. And even right now, like what you're talking about, just with kind of that point where you're reaching working day in and day out on like social media and these things, and then like you find your spouse through like the most random crazy events that would never have like thought, you know, 5 years ago I would not think that I'm going to be living in Florida right now, married to Carolyn, like doing the music that we're doing and getting to work together on all these projects. Like it's crazy. You really, I mean, seeing that in someone else's life, and then realizing even when you take things for granted in your own, that you're like, holy crap, there's so many things that I had no control over that came together to, I guess, make the best part of my life happen.
Yeah, dude, it's pretty crazy. Like, and I mean, I talk a lot, like specifically, like in my book, I talk a lot about I really use my own personal story as like a catalyst for what I'm trying to, like the message that I'm trying to share through the book. But yeah, I just kind of really reflect on my life. Like what you were saying, I really took so much time to like reflect on so many of the things that you wouldn't necessarily know about someone else or whatever, like all the small little details that like led to get you to where you are today. And that's kind of like the whole purpose of the book that I wrote, was just like, it's called A Mission for Meaning, and it's really like trying to take the overall greater like mission that you have for your life and break that down into, you know, like practical steps to try and like achieve this greater all vision and become the person that you want to become with your life through like the small choices that you make day to day. And you know, when I've been like talking to people and telling people about the book, I'm like, yeah, like it is my story, but I'm essentially trying to, with the book, I'm trying to like use my story as an example, not just for the sake of like sharing my own story, but like for the sake of other people.
Encouraging.
You know what I mean? Because
the big, you obviously talk about a lot in your book is just intentionality, show how that plays in life. And, you know, starting in even smaller ways when you're younger with small decisions you don't think have like massive repercussions, but you really look back and you realize that those have the largest repercussions, and it's cool. I think people just see when you get to a level where, you know, you found your spouse, or you're working in a job that you love doing, or you're, you know, finding whatever people think their version of success is. People don't really, I guess, equate the amount of time and years always that it took to get there, and how many things had to go right, and how many decisions you had to make. And at times you make wrong ones, sometimes make right ones. It's like that intentionality where you had to be wise. Blessing. I think people just see all this as like unattainable, or they think what we do is so like here and done, but there's so much to it, you know, and it's not like perfect all the time. It's not just like rainbows and sunshine. Oh, it's so easy overnight.
Oh, dude, people are saying that they can't hear you very well again. It's so rough. Do you have?
Yeah, I do.
Do you have headphones?
Yeah. Let me see if
maybe that'll help. Yeah, people are saying that it's like laggy or, you know, Wi-Fi. I don't know if it's. I really just think it's Instagram, to be honest. Oh no, it might be Jeremy. Wait, there we go. Talk. I think so. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. It's definitely, you're not cutting out. So. Yeah. Nice. Okay. Do you want to like just kind of like sum up what you were saying before? Because that was cutting out like when you're closing your thoughts or whatever.
You know, I think people just see where you're at sometimes, and they don't realize the road that had to happen to get there, and the intentionality and the decisions that you had to make along the way, which requires a lot of faith and requires a lot of risks at times. You know, what we do is not the easiest thing in the world, and there's so much like unknown in it. I know we were just talking about this beforehand with like even just in acting, you know, you're auditioning for things and you're like, well, I hope I get this, but like so much of it is outside of your control, and you're just like hoping that other people give you those opportunities, but you still have to be intentional to put your, you know, your best foot forward and do the work, so that suddenly people go, wow, you were so successful out of nowhere. And you're like, yeah, it took like 10 years to get there. You know?
Yeah. There's like a quote, I forget like where it's from or who said it or something, but it was like, it's somewhere along the lines of like an overnight success usually takes 10 years.
Totally true.
Or something like that. But it's like, it's so true. Like, you know, oh my gosh. People are saying now I should wear headphones. I don't even have headphones. I have these. The freaking Apple with the headphone jack. Guys, sorry, that's not happening. I'll try and be quiet or something since I'm so much louder than Jeremy. No, but yeah, man, I totally get that. And it's really like being intentional with like the decisions and choices that you make day to day. Even if it's something out of your control, like acting is a great like example because it is completely out of your control if someone's going to
book you for a job, right?
To like book you on a job or not. But if you're not auditioning yourself, you're not booking a job regardless.
Putting in the work, and you're not.
Yeah. Someone just asked if my book talk about my acting journey as well. It does a little bit. Yeah, I do talk about like kind of like really I talk about like my whole journey, like leaving to going to acting school, then going from there to LA and what that all looked like. So it does discuss a bit about that as well. Yeah, and if you guys have any other questions that you want us to talk about, you can pop them in the chat, and we'll try and answer those really as we see good ones come in.
Just in terms of since we met, like where we're both at now compared to where we both were when we first met. We're both married now. You just had your first kid, which is absolutely insane to me. And
yeah, it's wild.
You were just started talking to Jess like over social media. I don't even think, had you even met in person yet? I don't even know if that was a thing that had happened or not yet.
No, we hadn't. If it was because we were filming in January of 2016, so I would have met her like the next, probably like a week after we were done on set. I would have met her.
That's so crazy.
Like soon after
and then
that.
By the time we shot our second season / third and fourth, you guys were you already married by that point? Was it a year later?
Yeah, because we there's my dog. He just walked by. It was by the end of that year we got married because we were doing long distance from the U.S. to Australia that we were like, we know we're going to get married. We just need to not do long distance. And
I guess I just remember it differently, but I realized I was like, oh my gosh, it did all happen that fast. Like it kind of blew my mind reading back to that. I'm like, I lived through that, but it's still baffling to me that all happened in that short period of time. And then, we basically started the show. We were both essentially single. And then, fast forward not that long, and we're both married, having both at the time lived in LA, and now neither of us live there anymore. It's crazy. I would never have thought that was a path.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. It's pretty nuts, man.
Like it's just amazing. You don't think that in 5 years like that much can change, but so much can happen in such a short amount of time, and for the better ultimately too. I think it's pretty cool just seeing people's trajectory from when you first meet someone and what you think you're going to be doing in 5 years, what you think they're going to be doing in 5 years, and just being so honestly blown away by how completely off your first assumption would probably be.
Yeah. Well, guys, if you guys have any questions, oh my gosh, so people are asking Formula One questions.
Well, I'm sorry. I might work out a good amount, and I might be more swole than you think I am, but I can only hold the camera up in one hand for so long.
Bro, honestly, like if you're holding it selfie style, it does take a toll on your shoulder, to be honest. A lot of people are asking about, because the book is sold out in like a bunch of, like on Amazon, it's sold out in a lot of countries in Europe. I'm trying to like push. I'm trying to see to try and get it restocked because I'm sure it's going to get restocked, but there's like so many loopholes and like sources of communication that it has to go through because people pick up rights in different countries for the book, and it goes through like the publisher, and it's all pretty crazy, and each country is kind of like different, or each like region of the world has like their own
honestly, speaking of the whole process too, I think
their own things too. So
like when I guess during everything did you realize like flat out like, oh, I'm gonna start writing a novel, because that is a commitment and a task and a half, obviously. and
Yeah, my manager was trying to convince me to do it. He was like, "You need to write a book. I know it'd be great." He was just like trying to for a while. It was like a few years that he was like kept trying to convince me to do it, and then I was like, you know what? At some point, I kept like telling him like, I don't, not right now. I don't feel like and I didn't want to be another, social media YouTuber person who releases a book that,
Yeah.
because I just didn't want to, like, if I was going to write a book, I really wanted to put my whole heart and energy into it and make something good. So eventually at a certain point, I was like, all right, I think like I'm at a point where I have enough things that I want to say in a book. And I wrote it with a co-writer because I was still like, I was so obviously green to writing that I really didn't know where to start. Yeah, and my team was like, let's partner you with a great co-writer, and it'll be a really good collaborative process. And anything that you have questions on, it's someone who's seasoned who can like, coach you through whatever. So yeah, that was like, it was a really great like way to get into it. And now, I just like, for any books in the future, I can approach them with a lot more confidence and stuff like that too. So that's like really, the kind of process of how it all started.
You were like writing a book, period. And I think actually, I don't even know if you might have mentioned it.
Well, dude, you're writing like, what is it? Graphic novel? Like, what's the category technically?
So for the music that I'm doing for this upcoming album, we wanted like a kind of just an art component. So Carolyn, my wife, for those of you who don't know, is a really good artist and does graphic design, and so she always like designs all the cover ups and everything for all my music, which is so fun to get to do that with her. But we wanted to do something like more, I guess, not intense, but just more intuitive with that, and be like, hey, how can we kind of use both of us to do this? And so we had the idea at first of being like, let's make like one comic book that could basically be the world that this new album is set in. And have like all the artwork for the album and all the singles kind of match that world and the characters from that world. It's just like a fun idea. And then we kind of realized that the art load for that is so much. It is so much work. But we're like, it could be cool to write something. And so we're basically writing a novel, but kind of releasing it as we go, which is the weirdest thing ever, because I think we have like the first 2 chapters out just publicly on like a website, but we kind of bit off a little more than we could chew, because we're like, oh, we'll drop 3 at once, and then we'll do like 1 a month. It'll be so fun and easy. And then Carolyn's drawing, and I'm like, no.
Oh, I'm sure it's so dude. And do you have like the whole story already? Do you like know, or are you developing it as you go?
The entirety of it before writing anything, which I feel like for my brain I had to do.
Definitely.
Like 2 or 3 more chapters beyond what's publicly available that are like ready to go on the writing side. We just have to do the art side, which that's on her, and that takes a lot longer. And it's kind of but yep. And then we're just kind of going as we go.
That's it. You're just like, that's a you problem, babe. All right.
Draws them, guys. I guess that's when they're gonna come out. So just but yeah, that's kind of the idea. I mean, it'll probably take forever to like finish the processing. It's just us doing it ourselves, but it's been so fun. And even if it just ends up being like this kind of, we release occasionally, almost like a comic book, like that is really fun. And it's been cool to do in between other projects when we have time to devote to it. I think that's honestly the most interesting thing about being kind of in multiple ranges as like a content creator, an actor, or whatever else, is you kind of have periods where you don't have a lot of time and you have to focus solely on one thing, and then you'll be in between for like a month and you're like, what do I do right now? And you just kind of end up wanting to make other things. That's also where a lot of that came from. So that's been pretty fun.
Yeah, nice. That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. You kind of answered there's this one question that said, how long did it take you to write? I think this person may have asked it when I was talking about my book, but you kind of answered that for like your novel stuff. But my book, it took over 2 years really, because there's a lot of back and forth. And it wasn't just like 2 years. The whole process was 2 years. It wasn't like 2 years of like just writing, because, you finish essentially like you finish like that first like outline like summary of the chapters, and then that gets submitted to the publisher, and then they give their thoughts, and there's back and forth between me and my co-writer, and then that leads to, you know, the first few draft, or the first like draft basically, then that goes away, and you know,
for you
there's eyes on it, and you
added, I would assume, like a chapter or two during that process, because so much happened, and even I think for you in the time of writing it. So did you end up adding chapters?
Yeah. We originally had 10 chapters, and now we have 12, and there was so much during the process of writing that like changed in my life that during the writing process, like huge change was my wife getting pregnant, and that like was changing so much in like the perspective in my head of like what, I don't know, just like my view on life and my view on on family and my view on, you know, who I was going to be as like a person moving forward as a father now, and everything changed my approach on like, so when we'd get back, you know, certain versions of it from the publisher, because they would have their editors look at it and correct typos and, you know, make suggestions and whatnot, we'd get back these like notes on everything, and then I would then have to go through again and do a full clean sweep of the book and rewrite and whatever. And so I would, it wasn't just like an easy go through and edit and like make a few changes that they told me to make. Like I would actually go through and like add in a ton more of what, and I would think like, oh my gosh, this is like something that I'm learning in the moment, and I really want to make sure this is in the book. So then we'd like find where it would fit perfectly. And yeah, it was a really like therapeutic experience for me, you know, especially like going back. It was funny. I'd like go back and look at, you know, I'm going through like a new round of edits in the book and going through it again. And like myself, you know, months before, the year before, was like sticking his hands through the screen and slapping me in the face.
It do be like
just
that.
You know, like a lot of the stuff that I was talking about, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to take my own advice on this stuff. But yeah.
Dang it. This applies to me right now.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, should I add this?
Yeah, I figured, especially with that type of book, I was like, there's no way he didn't add so much throughout the process when that's the subject matter and it's you and what you're going through in your life. Like, yeah, that was just interesting to me. I figured that was the case. Someone else asked earlier too what show we were talking about. So I guess for those who don't know, we worked on a show on Go90 that no one saw called Mr. Student Body President.
Well, Go90 is no longer a thing anymore.
I think maybe it's on YouTube at this point. I think it was on Amazon for a hot second. I have no idea.
Yeah, I think it was on Amazon for a bit, but anyway, it was called Mr. Student Body President.
Yeah, yeah, no one saw it.
And it was honestly, it was pretty good. Like it had a good like ratings on IMDb and all that stuff.
Pretty funny show. I ended up going back because I don't think Carolyn had seen any of it, and she was curious. We watched a little bit of it again at some point, and it's really good. Honestly, it's a really funny show. I feel like if it was on a network that had more than 1,000 people who owned the app, maybe it would have gotten seen by more. But it was so fun.
Man, it's rough.
Of the project, it was so like kind of throwing yourself into the deep end of the pool in terms of being a very small production. It wasn't like we had, you know, like what you would imagine, I guess, from a big TV type thing where you have your massive trailer and you have stand-ins and you just kind of have people fanning you up and you go to set.
Yeah.
Like it was just us basically in these little trailers that were like split in half. So me and Arden, who's one of the other leads on it, like I could hear everything happening in her trailer because it was effectively the same trailer with just a little slider door basically. Yeah,
just a slider dude. It's so like funny
camp in a way because it was just like ridiculous. There's all these people on the show. It was very fun, a lot of work, long hours, where you're just kind of like zany and loopy by the end of it, but it was such a blast.
Yeah, so anyway, that's the show that we were talking about. And we filmed it in 2016, the first season, and we did another few seasons the next year. But yeah, guys, anyway, huge shout out to Jeremy for being on this live. Was there anything else that you? I see you're kind of probably looking at comments right now.
Which I guess huge congrats to you. That is so cool.
Thank you, man. Well, so it's still available in the U.S. It's sold out in a lot of places in Europe. It's sold out. So like, that means it's like cool. A big success and a big win. But I'm really like hoping that we can get it restocked so people can go back and pick it up and stuff like that. But anyway, thank you guys.
Because I'm on this live. It's a great book. Honestly, I don't read a ton of books. If it probably wasn't for the fact that it was Gabe and I know him really well, I probably I don't like go to a store and like just see random books and go, I'm going to read that. Like, I read it though, and it is really awesome. I think it's just encouraging. It's a really easy read. I probably read the thing in like 2 days, honestly.
Did you really?
It is. I don't know. It felt way even shorter, I think, than it was. Like, it's such an easy read. It's so, I don't know. Yeah, I read it in probably like 2 days.
Dude, that's what so many people were saying. So there's the amount of people that told me they read the whole book in one sitting.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Are you kidding me? Because like, it's not like it's.
I think it was like
Dude, I'll tell you right now. If you read through like the page and a half of acknowledgments, it's 194. But it ends, really it's 191 when you finish it. So it's almost 200 pages. Like it's a full book.
That's freaking dope. So I'm gonna read it.
Right, someone said 264 pages. That might be like Kindle version. Because
that's why.
Different versions will have.
To me, it was like a PDF,
but anyway.
Beforehand. So.
They have to format it depending on like what like the physical book is different, and then if you're an audiobook person, I think it's like 6 hours, 5 hours or something.
People are saying it is hard to put down once you read it. That is 100% true. And they also say I look like Dylan O'Brien. I guess that's also true.
Dude, that's right. I've been looking. I'm like, dang, Jeremy does look like Dylan O'Brien. And that is a perfect spot to leave off.
Of course.
Anyway, Jeremy, dude, thank you so much for joining this live and chatting with me about the book and stuff. Glad we could catch up on like some of your stuff as well.
Sweet.
But
well, thanks everybody for tuning in.
Anyway, thank you guys for everyone tuning in. Appreciate it.